Oh well, hello and welcome back to the grind. And we're back on the Dodge w100, 1989 Dodge w100. Now I've got most of the floor all welded up and everything's looking pretty good in here. And I fixed up that, well, everything back here, that's all done up. Other side is done over there. So I'm done with the floor. You know, I'll have to put the carpet and stuff back in, or not carpet, the mat back in, and these side panels back on, stuff like that. But that's later. And then I did get a set of new seat belts for it. We'll see about putting them on, if they'll work. And that's later. So stick around. There's lots and lots of welding on this one, and you know, cutting and welding all the floor on the driver's side and getting it back together. So stick around and see what everything that happened, and enjoy it. See you later.
Yeah, so I got a piece of hard paper. I'll see if I can make a template for that there, and maybe it'll work better.
Okay,
Here it is, something like this. This will come right to there. That little bit of a fold line right there is where it should be, but I'll make it a bit longer, and then I'll be able to trim it back a bit. Okay, so this part here gets the flange on it, and then that part there gets the rest of it. And I'll just cut that straight across here, and then trim it out as I need to over here. Okay, so there's the piece I made off that template. Now I'll see how it goes in here, if at all. Yeah, close, but not all the bananas. In fact, real close, but not all the bananas. So it's got to come down quarter inch or so, hey? Okay, I'll work and see if we can get it trimmed in. Yeah, there. That's just tacked in, but I think it's okay. Looks like it's going to be fine. And I had to go and that light could have stayed there, likely not. I had to go and change this flange so that it came down at that angle. This thing here was throwing me off because the floor is a little bit likely pressed down out there. Okay. Anyhow, I think that's enough for today anyhow, so I'll come back tomorrow and see about finishing it up. Yeah, there we go. It's got this welded up there. I can't really see it. I'm just welding this part on from the outside, and then the floor, I'm going to put the floor on there, and that'll solid that up and join it all together. I'm not going to try welding in here because I can't get in there. And this seam here seems to be pretty good. I'm going to drill a hole down in there and put a bolt through. I don't know if you can see this. See this? Can you see? Where am I? Right here. This part here used to, right here, used to be a bolt going in there. So I'm going to put a bolt through that and make it the same as what it was original. That should be okay. Yeah, there I've got a bolt through there, and then I welded the nut to the inside so that I can get it. It'll come apart again someday. See there, right there. Anyway, that's the way it was. So that's how it is now. Along here, this is just some rust jacking on that bit there. So there's really nothing to it. That's going away, right? So there you go. I'll leave that be. Now I got to build a thing for bolting the mount to, right? What do you call that? I've got to build that little triangle type holder thing. Okay, I'll find a piece of steel and do that. Let's see if any of these drills that I sharpened are any good. I'll just put you over here. Then we'll see if it'll drill through that. That looking the right way? Maybe? Yeah. Okay, give it a try. That goes through pretty quick. Whoops.
out of battery. That didn't take anything. That's good. Okay, I got all that other old stuff apart, the rubber and everything, and now I've got new rubbers in the car, and I made a new thing for to bolt this into right here. Painted it yellow. I'll let that dry for a bit before we use it, but now I have to lift up the car, lift up the cab, using all that contraption I did on the other side, and get the upper rubber out of there and put a new rubber in and check it out if it needs welding in that part. Oh, don't drop all your good gear. Okay, we'll do that. I don't know, did I show you this? So I drilled a hole in there so that water will drain out of it. I've got that bolted from the bottom up, and this is, I just painted the inside of it to keep the, give it a chance against the rust. Okay, here's the mounting stuff for mounting all that. So this is the top from, this is the body of the truck will go here, and this will go onto the mounting frame. This is the bottom, and it goes like that. There'd be a washer here, like that, and a washer here at the bottom, like that. But the body part is slightly rusted away in the middle of the holes, so yeah, just throw everything on the ground. So I made this washer, and it's one of the ones that came out of the old body mount. So I'll put it in like that, and I'll show you underneath the truck what I mean when I get there. Oh, might as well get this back up and find it later, perhaps. Okay, so first thing I have to do is weld this into the truck. Then that'll sit on next, on top. Then the bolt goes through. So we'll just see what we can do about, here's the bolt. It goes through here, like that. So perhaps I'll put that up and through so that I know that it's gonna fit, right? Okay. Okay, I'm underneath and I've got it held up with this thing here, which is one of those porta power things. Then you can see this is the original. I think that's actually the original size of the hole, but my hole will be a bit smaller. Whoops, what did I say there? Anyhow, that's what's going to happen, is that's going to go in there. I'll weld this around the edges here to hold it, and that'll keep it from moving ever, and that'll give it enough support to get the thing going all right. Then I'll run the bolt up through there. Just make sure I'm in the right spot. Okay, I'll show you as I get along. Yeah, there I centered it up with this, with the bolt through it, up to the top, and then I let this jack down a bit to put some pressure on there so it won't move. I just got to put a couple of tacks in there, and then I'm going to lift it up, take the rubber out, get that welded on, and then then we'll go from there. Yeah, there we go. I think I can put that together now. This thing here, I flattened it out pretty close to the same level as the up above, and that'll just hold that from moving at all. And the little part from the, well, I'll show you. Hang on. So the rubber just drops right in there into that size hole. That'll hold it from shaking back and forth or whatever it does. Then it gets, this is direct to the rubber here. I wonder if I should put a washer there. I could. Guess it, I'll think about that. I might just put one of the old washers right on there, and that'll make it, you know, a nice big surface that'll grab that well. And then put the rubber, put the bolt through it, and we're all, and then Bob's your uncle, or somebody's your uncle anyhow. So I found this washer, which was from the original setup, cleaned it all off, put some paint on it, and it'll go on there now, and goes over that shim. What do you call that thing? Anyhow. But the other washer at the top has got a hole that's small enough that this won't go through. Okay,
Now, next is to see if I can get this up into place here. There we are. Success. That's in there. That's tight now. And then up above, let's have a look up above if I can get up there. Oh, I'll turn you on when I get back up. It takes me about 10 minutes to get up out of here. Yeah, there. That's tightened up in there and the way it should be. So that body mount is good. Now I did, I was not pleased with, wonder where these things are. Hang on, I'll find stuff. So, yeah, here I am. I wasn't pleased with how the previous guys had jimmied up this thing. So that, the metal part for the, this is the seat belt, right? Which is kind of an important safety feature. The metal part was gone, and they drilled a hole through there and just put this bolt through. And that might, likely it'll work, but these seat belts are old and frayed, not too frayed. So I found online on Amazon you can get a set of seat belts for like $25 or $30 Canadian, or whatever it was, $45 I think. So they'll be here on Tuesday. So I'll have new seat belts both sides. I won't have to really worry about that. Then next is I'll put in this piece right here. Let me get some light in here. Jeez, there. I'll cut a piece of metal and put it into here, drill that hole, which is this hole here. So I'll drill that out, and then that'll be that done. Then I'll just start doing the floor. I'll go from here up to there, call that done, and then I'll work at this stuff down here, because I just want to work from something from above for a while because I've been underneath so much. Okay, there's my helper, and he's telling me it's time to go home. Now, it's only like 4:45 and the sun's disappeared over the horizon. Oh dear, I guess it was yesterday with daylight savings times ended. So it's an hour earlier tonight, like 4:30 or 5 o'clock, the sun's going to be down. Oh well, and I think it's about 4:45 now, so that's good enough for me. I'll quit. So I started the day putting the boat to bed for the winter. Then I discovered that I'd left the main power on, and of course the battery is dead, so I pulled that out, put it on a charger. Then I was going to put a tarp on it, and the tarp ripped down the middle, so I have to get a new tarp. Oh well, that'll be soon. Starting to put stuff to bed for the winter. I took that, closed that all up, closed down the water here, it's drained off, and put the power washer in the house so it won't freeze over the winter. And my faithful companions are yawning. Hey, and so now I'll go back to work on this for today. I'll get another tarp and have another go at that boat another day. Now for starters, I have to make a piece like that with that hole in it to fit in there so you can access this at a later date. And it's got a rubber thing that fits in there. Maybe. We'll just see. Anyhow, I did a little bit of a half-assed job over there. I did see if I can do a better job on this one. There we go. That might work. And I've painted the back side of it, so I'll just get it welded on there and see how things come together. Yeah, there we go. That's in. Like, that's nice weld up there. Well, a little bit ugly there, but I had to do a bit of a chasing right there. Started to blow through, but I got it stopped. And then here, this is nice weld across there. It's spot welded there, so that's all. That's really solid now. Now, carry on going. I think I'll start down here, right about here, and work that way, because this is where it kind of flattens down. That's the same height here as there, so the floor kind of goes flattens into that corner. Okay, let's see what I can do. Yeah, there's that piece of floor. Now it'll just cover that up, and I'll just lap weld it there. I'm not going to try to butt weld it, because that'll be sitting on top of the beam down below, and that'll be good. And then hoopy things go here, here, and here. So I'll go make them right now.
Yeah, there's the bead roller out again. Now I'll slide the metal in here. Oh, up you go. Anyway, that'll lift. And this thing here, that'll make the bead. Anyway, see how it goes. Wait a sec, I'll put you up here. Yep, okay. So, first one, starting about there and coming right to this end. Now, if I stretched the metal here first, it would make it so it wouldn't get warped, but I can straighten it out on the angle all right for these purposes. That's that one done. Now the first one back and forth. You can see them better on this side. Whoops, where am I? You can see them better on this side. So now I'll see how it's got that bend in it now. So now I'll go over in the anvil and just hammer it straight. I'll show you. Where's the anvil? Right down there somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Okay. should be all right. We'll see about putting it into the car now. Yeah, so I figured I'd just paint the back side of it while I was at it. And I've got all those plug holes in. And that's ready to go. Give it about 10 minutes to flash off, and then I'll weld it on. Now I know that a lot of that, wherever I weld here, is going to burn the paint off, but spots in between it won't. So give it a little bit of a chance against the rust around here, because things do rust here. Maybe you've noticed that. But this truck is like 1989 till now, so that'd be 25, 35 years, 36 years maybe, right? That's pretty good for 36 years. Anyway, carry on. Yeah, you were all wondering whether I could ever do a nice weld. It's a pretty nice weld along here. I'll just, I'm just lap welding it, so I'll just let you watch for a bit. See if that's somewhere along here. Yeah. So I went along and got it all tucked in there already. Yeah, that's possibly some of the nicest weld I've ever done. I don't know why, because I do it the same all the time, but I think just because it was pretty clean in here. Lots of time there's lots of debris and rust and everything where I'm welding, and it sparkles and splatters and everything like that. So in this case it was all pretty nice metal. So that is strong. That's a good floor. Okay, now on to the next one, which would be from here up to there, right? That's going to be a bit of a challenge right there. Yeah, so I have to make a piece to go in that where that divot is there. Sort of getting there. That's like still got an 1/8 of an inch to go to get to the bottom of the divot, but it's coming along. So it might make it all right. I'll just keep on hammering on this thing. I'll show you a bit. Hang on. Yeah, I can't admit to being any good at hammer and dolly, but we'll get there. There, I do a little bit and then I go back and test. Starting to get to be, you know, a bit of a curve on it there now. Yeah, I did a bunch more, like more hammering on it. And now it's sort of like I'm going to do kind of a cut fit and kind of a lap weld. So I'm going to do a cut fit along these two edges and then a lap weld along here. And I'll just do a little bit of final hammering in here because it comes up pretty near. It touches it most of the way across, but a little bit of hammering once it's welded in, and then that'll be a complete job. So I'll show you how I get along. Yeah, there we go. It's quitting time anyhow, so that's all welded up. That little bit right there needs a bit more. But for the most part, it's all right. This wasn't as pretty as this for some reason, but I'll clean it up, and it'll look better later. Now, need to put one more piece in here, and then it's after the go to the back end here. Okay, good enough. Yeah, there we go. This piece here will go in here. A little bit of bending right there to get it down in the spot, and then I'll bend this. Once I get that all in, I'll bring this together and stitch it up. So,
get that welded in, and that'll be that part of the floor done. Then I'll start down here. I guess it's time for a bunch of grinding. This thing here I'll just have to fill in with seam filler because it's grazing onto that, and then it just doesn't do anything. So, but seam filler, it had it in there before anyhow. Okay, I've removed all the bad stuff, lots of it, and gonna take and just cut. No, I don't want to cut any more of that. I'm gonna box it in all the way to the end over here. Get some of that crap out of the way, and then that'll give it. Then I'll be able to take this down, put it on top of the box, and that'll be good there. Then I'll be able to build the inside shell and make a good solid thing for the seat belt to sit on. How's that?
Okay, made a piece, right? How do you like this? So this is for the inside of the panel at the back here, and I just kept on working on it until it kind of filled up all the holes. So I'll put it in there and I'll show you what it looks like in there. Then tomorrow I'll weld it in.
Yeah, there we go. This is from the top now. And so in here it fills in all that area in there, and I'll just use some seam sealer to get that stuff at the edge there because that's what it had before. Anyhow, now the top piece will come flowing down and set on there, right? And that'll be good for that. And then I'll show you down below what it looks like. Oh, what a climb. There I am underneath. Hang on. There. That's the whole thing there, all the way up to the front. And I painted the inside of that. You saw that. And I got all these plug holes at the bottom here. I'll fill in. I think they got too many of them there, but that's okay. And then this part here, then I'll build this part to come down here, meet on here, and then the seat belt thing goes right about here somewhere, right there, about. Anyway, I'll get that filled in after I get this thing on. That sort of fills in a lot of the gap that I was slightly concerned about. Anyway, there we go. That's enough for today. There, I put a bit of a downward lip on that, there, on this piece, to be able to fit into here where I've cleaned it up some. I'll show you. Oh, on that, onto here, right here, I can get a plug weld on that. It looks kind of ugly, but underneath there's solid stuff from the, what do you call that thing? Rocker panel that was new on there. And that, it'll work. It'll be fine. Yeah, I got this all welded in. Had a tough time with it. The the welder was acting up, but I persevered and got it done. Anyhow, I changed the tip on the welder and cleaned it up. Anyhow, and then all the way along here, can't see it very well because no light. Wait a minute, I'll pull the light down here if I can reach it. Where is it? It's always in my eyes, except for when I want it. Hang on. There it is. Yeah, can you see? Plug welded all the way along there. Then I folded this part in so that it would be just solid to that. Now I've got a piece in here, you can see, painted the inside of it, that will fill in the first outside piece of that. I'll show you from above. I haven't welded it yet. Whoa! Up and down, up and down. Right in there. That'll fill in that bit. And then, like, it was all filled with, what do you call that stuff? Seam filler before, so. Like, this is from the factory, how much seam filler is in it.
So I guess that's how it is. Okay, I'll get that welded up and carry on.
Yeah, so I thought I'd just try that, put that little piece in there first. And that was mostly welding by braille there. Can't see past the end of my nose when you're upside down in there. But it all turned out okay, except for this one here was a little bit gassy. So now I'll see if I can make a piece to go in here. And I'll weld that seam along there. And I don't know how far I can get to. I might have to do some shrinking. If I can get it to here, then that, or if I can get it to there, that would be the end of that would be flat the rest of the way. So if I get it to here, that's all that looked after. I'll see what I can do. So the next piece to go in, this piece here, this piece here. Now it's got to be curved. You know, that's sort of going around there. So this has got to go a bunch more along there, and then straightened out again to go flat. So I'll see if I can do that. I'll show you on the other side what I'm doing.
I've got that thing that, I don't know if it's a dolly or, anyhow, got that thing. I'll just put you here. Get you flattened out. Okay, so all I do is take the hammer and it's got to go a bit more that way, right? Something like that, but it's got to get curved around here more. I might go over to the anvil and try a bit on there. I'll show you that. Anvil's got a bigger curve on it, right? Let's see, just on the horn, on what they call the horn of the anvil. Right? Where's that? Down a bit, right about there. Something like that. I'll go over and check it out on the car. Wonder of wonders, it's pretty near got it. Needs to be a bit more right up here. And I think that if I cut this, make a rounded thing there, it'll make it work better. I think that's pretty close to right. We'll just check it out.
That's mostly going to fit there now. And it sort of flattens out here. Now this part here I'll fill that in later. I'll get that figured out. But now I've got to go and just do a little bit of cleaning up here so I can get that all welded. Yeah, that's all welded up in there. I might go across the top of this with a lap weld. Wouldn't hurt, would it? Maybe I'll do that. I'll just do it right now. Yeah, there we go. That's all welded in there. Doggy's barking mad out there. Anyway, now I'll get this done tomorrow and put the seatbelt in maybe. Oh, that'll be fun. And I've got new seat belts for it, so I'll mount them too, or try to. See what happens. Anyway, that's all for today. See you later. Yeah, okay, back at it again here. A little bit late starting today. Had to go to the dentist, get my teeth polished up. I think they look all right. Who knows, eh? Anyway, they've been there for 70 years, so they're doing all right. this is all welded in here and strong. Now I'll make a piece that goes along here, and this might be a little bit wrong, but see how it's supposed to be that big there? So I'll make it so it comes up to here and then flattens out. See what I can do about that. Okay. Yeah, there we go. This will fit in here. And it's just where all the hoops come together. This hoop comes in here. That hoop comes in there. But I'll get this. I'll do the plug weld holes along here. First thing I'll do is weld it so it's right here. Then we'll get the rest of it hooked on. Okay. Got to clean this up some more there because it's farther up than what I had originally intended. I guess I could cut it back some more if I wanted, but that would what would it do if I cut it? No, I don't think I will. I think I'll just clean that up and weld it to there. Oh, there. Floor is all in all the way along and over here. Although it's covered up with stuff, I'll get that all cleaned off and then give it the same paint job as I did on the other side. Likely not right away because I still have to put the seatbelt thing in here. I'll figure out where it goes. I think it goes right about here and right about that. There, I kind of guessed where the hole should be from this side. Then I took this down to the back side underneath and put it up against, and then put a marker right through the center of that, drilled it from the other side, and there's that hole, came right through there. Isn't that something? Yeah, so I bolted the seatbelt holder on here now, and from underneath, all the light's in your eyes. Sorry about that. Okay, here we are. So underneath now, it's bolted on there tight. I'll do a plug weld here, plug weld there, do a little bit of weld across the top of it. And these, I've got holes here for plug weld. I'll do that tomorrow though, because it's quitting time today. But all the rest of it down here looks pretty good. This has to be finished up down to here, which I can do. I'll do that tomorrow. And then all that looks like this is where I overlapped the weld. And that's pretty darn good penetration there, I guess. So I think that is solid. Now I'll get some seam sealer and put it along this edge here to keep the water from going in there. And that should, same thing up along here. But it all sort of sits flat on there, so that's pretty good. I won't complain about it. That's a good solid truck now. Get this finished, get seat belts in, then I think I'm sort of done with that bit, but there's a, where am I? Mechanical bit here that I have to get also looked after. I don't know if we've got enough light here to see this, but it's over here. No light. Let me find my little flash. Yeah, so this thing here, that's loose, and it's got a leak of power steering fluid in that seal there. Now I've ordered up the seal kit, and I'm trying to figure out what this thing will look like on the. Looks like that's the shaft. You get these. I think you get the whole shaft. I'm not sure. Not sure how that comes off or whatever happens. Well, we'll have a look at it in the manual maybe. Let me just get underneath the hood here and see. Oh, up. Now I need a light up here. Oh yeah, it goes from that with that rubbery thing there down to the shaft. I imagine I can get that off reasonably easy. Anyhow, that's still pending. I may take it for inspection before I do that, just because, and see what else it needs besides that stuff. Anyway, enough for today. See you later. Okay, so I'm building a piece to go on that inside the, whatever you call that in there, the structure. Now I've welded on the inside and I've welded on the outside. I sort of put it together underneath here. Oh, get underneath
So first I made, oh dear me, it all goes flying sometimes. Okay, there. So first I made this piece here that my hand is on, and then I just lined up another, like I took a piece of paper and made kind of a template to make that all come together there, and it did, more or less, get it in the right spot where that will fit. So then, now I'm going to make a piece on this side over here, and I'm just going to weld it in there and then weld this piece to it when I get there, because otherwise I would never be able to get to it. Meantime, I'll try to cut this off at the top here. Now, if I cut this off straight here, then that'll be good. And I'll just lap weld it across there. Okay, so that'll be straight across there, and then I'll make another piece to fit in there, and that should do it. The piece I fit in there will be just about like this, except mirror image. Okay. Yeah, so here's sort of that mirror image bit. Now, I'm going to put this up in, oh, where am I here? Up here, like this. About there. And then I'll give it a tack weld. I'll hold the other part. I'll show you. Wait a second. Here. Oh, right. Where am I looking? I can't tell. Right around there, yep. Okay, sorry about that. Anyway, here's the pieces. Here's the pieces. There they go. Like that, right there. Oops. About there somewhere. About there. And this piece here goes on about here. And that's going to work pretty good there. Pretty well. There. Pretty well. Out there. Now, if I'm very careful, I can get a tack on a couple of spots here. We'll see. I'll just that's pretty close there. That's going to go up there. Yep. Oh boy, come on. Can't get my hand on the on the welder. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. What about there? Yeah, that's going to work. Okay, I'm going to weld this in up here if I can, and along there if I can. And a little bit of a gap there. That end seems to be okay. Okay, well, I'll just do a little bit of finagling on that. Yeah, so that little piece there is on. Kind of ugly welding in there. And I welded it on the inside in there. Now I'm going to throw a bunch of paint in here and paint the inside of that piece. Then we'll get it all welded together. Oh, there you go. That's all welded in. I'll get I did these plug welds in this, so that's
solid on there. Then the rest of it's going to paint it up there, paint it down here. A little bit cold for painting, but it can dry for a day or two. Then I'll paint this up, then I'll go up in the top and clean that up and paint the floor. Then I'll think about getting the seat belts figured out. Yeah, there we are. Going to paint this floor now with that same color I have over there. I painted it and then I put the seam sealer over the top of the paint, which is what they seem to do at the factory. So I'm going to do the same here. I guess it doesn't hurt anyhow. Now I'm just going to paint over that stuff there. I'm not too concerned about it. It's a floor. So that'll be fine. Okay, we'll get the can of paint out and do it. Yeah, there's one good coat. And I'll come back and get another coat in about 20 minutes. Then just let it set and dry. Yeah, that's coat number 2 on there. Got a bit of dirt in there, but that's all right. I'll scrape that off later. So that looks pretty darn good for a floor, right? Out of an old truck. So now I've got the on the other side over there. I don't know if you can see over there. I did put the seam sealer on everything, and then I painted a coat of paint over it. So I'll do that when this thing here gets dried up. I'll put some seam sealer over all the seams that I've made, and then that would be let it dry and then paint it again. That'll be a few days away. Okay, now I think that's enough for today, and likely enough for this episode. I'll next week, seat belts and perhaps the steering box fix, and then I think we're done with it after that. Well, like there's lots to do on it, but for this round, I think we're pretty close. Put the mat back in there and the sidewalls back on, stuff like that. But that'll be next time. Okay, hope you enjoyed it all. See you later. Yeah, so welcome to November. Here we are. It's November 4th, maybe. Maybe that. Raining, and I think it's going to rain forever now. The pond is filling up pretty good. It's supposed to rain all day today, maybe not tomorrow, then rain the next day, and cold, or not cold, but certainly isn't warm. And then there was a big storm maybe last week, lots of wind, and there's going to be lots of wind here later today too. No wind now. But it blew up all that mess of seaweed got blown in. Now I presume the next storm, the wind's going to be blowing the other way, so maybe it'll get blown out. We'll just see. Anyway, here I am with the dog. I don't think there's any more cruise ships coming in. I don't blame them. Okay, there's some ducks out there on the water. Pretty calm right now, but I think there's a storm a coming. Anyway, see you later.